So, Beau, finally doing The Last of Us.
Yes.
I know you're probably excited, right?
Yes. No. Yeah. It's good to be here reviewing this game, and I've said it before on the podcast. It's my favorite game of all time, and I think it's one of the greatest games of all time to this day.
I'm right there with you now, man. To playing this game is flawless.
It was your first playthrough, right?
Yeah.
The first thing I want to ask you is the ending. How did you feel? Not what are your opinions on the ending, just emotions.
Okay. Happy. I didn't want to see him alone, and I was happy that he kept her. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to be alone, man. Are you kidding me? It's apocalypse. Even if they find the cure, it's not going to stop.
It's so funny when you texted me, yeah, how'd you feel about that ending? You kind of gave me the same response. It's like, oh, no, it was great. I feel happy for them. I was like, he kind of lied to her. She's kind of played with survivor's guilt.
I completely just thrown that out. I had to replay it and just do it all over again to find out what really happened. I don't know. I guess I just reacted the same way he would.
Well, the ending, the first time I played it back in 2014, because it's crazy to think that this game came out at the end of PS3 in 2013. And then remastered for PS4 because it still looks so good. But
hey,
there you are. You okay?
Better than that guy.
Search him.
Swear to me that everything that you said about the Fireflies is true.
When I was done playing this, I just stood and stared at my TV for about 10 minutes. I didn't know what to feel, because there were so many conflicting emotions, and to me that's why it's the best ending of anything that I've ever experienced. Movie, book, video game. This ending just puts you in an emotional knot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would double down that this game doesn't need a sequel. I'm happy it's coming out, but it didn't need one. It was just so cinematic, man. They did such a great job. This storytelling was phenomenal. It just puts you in that universe. It made me feel like I was watching a fucking show. Like I was watching a TV show.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the kind of zombie cliches, like zombie apocalypse, old grizzled fighter with a young companion. The young companion is the cure to the world. It's Children of Men, Logan. You have complex and interesting characters in this dangerous setting.
But what The Last of Us does so well is it combines all these elements and makes it into a great gaming experience, and it doesn't play like it's so cliche.
Right.
And common. It's so unique.
And I think they've had such great history with their Uncharted series, but the storytelling and the gameplay here is it's unmatched.
We could just go in there, finish them off. We get the guns. What do you say? Come on. Yeah, fuck those Fireflies. Let's go get them.
That is a stupid idea.
What did you think about the whole zombies? We've seen it so many times, but here we are again, a zombie story.
This was this was the best portrayal of a zombie that I've ever played or watched.
Yeah, you think so?
Hands down, yeah. Between the clickers using echolocation, the bloaters, what they looked like after weeks, it just looked so real. It just made me feel like I was really watching something that happened to people.
Yeah, and the breakout is based on a real fungus, a parasitic fungus, cordyceps, and It's known to do this in real life, not to humans, but to ants. Apparently it zombifies ants, and it also has effects on tarantulas, so it's this parasitic fungus. It is kind of disgustingly beautiful to look at these zombies.
Yeah, seriously.
Because it's like a surrealist piece of art that you can only imagine through nature, I guess, because it's really happening in the real world. But for them to apply that to humans and then to zombies, and like you said, the stealth in this game was great. Because you were so scared, but if you were quiet enough, you could tiptoe right past the zombie.
That's probably my favorite, not probably, it's hands down my favorite aspect of the game was the whole combat system. Each fight was so unique that you never knew what you were going to get into when you went into a scene. Because there could be 4 or 5 guys just sitting there waiting for you, and you need to crawl past them, and you can strangle them and get past them. You can't just go into a scene guns blazing. Ammunition is scarce, and if you just go into a scene wasting bullets and shooting for no reason, you might as well just quit the whole map and start over again.
That is one of my favorite parts of this game, is how low you are on supplies, that you would have to scour each and every one of these maps. And that's another point about this game, is that it's not an open world, but each individual map and setting, the suburbs, downtown, hometown, it felt like their own worlds, because there were so many different hidden secrets and Easter eggs and recordings, photographs of families that had to leave. It was such an interactive world.
Attention to detail was on point in this game.
Oh yeah, you just love it. You just love that appreciation, that attention to detail. Because you see 3D worlds that are huge, but they're not dense. This was a very dense world. And also to your point about, the stealth and the echolocation, the sound design in this game. I mean, you knock something over, the zombie's gonna go, "Rrr?"
Oh yeah.
You step on a piece of glass or something like that.
I hated that scene, dude, at the end with David. Dude, when after that second shiv, when you couldn't hear him anymore, that was horrible. Oh, shit. Ah! Oh, come on. All right, I'm safe. Oh!
Well,
That was hard.
The character of David, it just shows the way that humanity has been forced to kind of reckon with survival in the most primitive way. They've kind of been stripped of everything. And Nolan North here, the voice of Nathan Drake in Uncharted, does some of the best work of his career because he presents Dave as a friend at first, and that's so inviting to Ellie. It's a semblance of normal in this world that has been so chaotic, and she doesn't trust him at first, but he continues to manipulate her, and when he turns the switch to villain, it's dark, man. He is dark and devious, and that face is kind of just, it's giving a face to the chaos and the potential danger of this world. And you see when they're outside of the quarantine zones, everyone's just kind of, it's every man for himself.
Exactly. And there wasn't one boss. You
Right.
know? I mean, well, the government could be one boss. It's like The Walking Dead, just different bandits of tribes.
Well, yeah, the government versus the Fireflies, the militia. But
Yeah.
with David, he kind of just represents that pure ugliness of humanity that has
Right.
arisen from this situation. And as scary as the zombies were, I was never more scared than when I was fighting against David.
Right.
I was scared for Ellie, and she was freaked out at the end of that.
Stop!
Fucking touch me!
Okay, it's me. Look.
You know, this game wasn't as much as about zombies as it was about the government either. This is just about two people, Ellie and Joel, scouring across the East Coast, I guess, is where they went, right?
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
East Coast, and then they go to Colorado, and then they're
just-
going to Utah.
It just made it feel so real, like just the way you played with them. Every scene was a survival scene. There wasn't like one fun scene to do, you know?
Everything kind of led to the next thing.
Right.
Everything was done with a
There
purpose,
wasn't
but
like
it was-
a filler
No.
chapter, I guess you can say. It was something that had to do with the story, every single chapter.
I want to talk about the gameplay, actually, because that's
Yeah.
one of the most controversial aspects of this game, is that people think it's not extraordinary.
Not really, because I've never been in a game where I've had to use so much ingenuity. Dude, that one scene when the bear trap gets you, I guess, and you're hanging upside down.
Ellie, come on.
I got you.
Damn it, Bill.
I would have never. That's such a great idea. Like that happens to people all the time, and Ellie has to try and cut you down
Right, in Billstown, yeah, with
Yeah.
all the traps, and you're shooting the zombies. and
upside
just
down.
cutting
That's sick, dude.
Right. Well, I love that point because they put the characters in so many unique situations. Like when Joel has to kind of sneak around the sniper in the suburbs.
Yeah.
And then he gets to the sniper, and then he starts taking out people, and then he starts taking out
That was
zombies.
favorite scene in the game was that one right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. It was so fun to do with the stealth, and then to be on the sniper, to take out enemies, to take out zombies.
Actually, hardest.
Yeah.
That sniper was hard to get by, man.
No, yeah, he was talking so much shit.
Yeah, he's
I
picking
can
me
see
off.
you behind that car, fucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put us in so many great little situations within the larger journey to me. And the gameplay, it's, these are real people. This is a middle-aged man and a little girl.
Right,
They're
he's not a
they're not
superhero, man.
Spider-Man. Yeah,
Exactly.
they're not going to be jumping off the walls.
Two regular people traveling across the country.
Right,
It's
and I like with Ellie, when you fought with her, you could be stealthy and stab people, but if you tried to square up, she was just going to get punched.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
There's one point where she just got socked
did,
and
at
knocked
the end,
out.
right?
Yeah.
Man, you hit hard.
Yeah, well, I was trying to kill you.
Yeah, I thought you were one of them too. Then I saw you. If you haven't noticed, they don't keep kids around.
Do you have a favorite chapter, story? My favorite was probably when you met Sam and Henry. Just that whole storyline it's sad and it's written so well, and it makes you feel so bad for Henry and Sam.
Right,
He has to kill his brother and then he kills himself. That's so dark.
I get chills in my body when I watch that. When
Yeah.
I watch that scene, it's like I have to shake it off because I've seen something that was just, because you feel so bad for the kid because you've been in that situation where you have a problem but you want to hide it from your parents.
Yeah.
And this time, it's a problem you don't really want to hide because he's going to become a zombie. But it's dark, man. It's disturbing. This conversation here is probably, for me, I mean, there are a lot of great twists and plot twists in this game, but it's so unexpected to see and witness a conversation between two 14-year-olds about the implications of becoming a zombie, what that does for your life or your afterlife. Is the consciousness still inside of there? I mean, it's these questions that they're pondering are deep.
Yeah, that's like
They're
a question.
kids.
Yeah, exactly. That's like a game you play, like a zombie apocalypse game you play with your kids, and they're actually going through it, and you can tell, and you can tell by what they're saying that like they don't, and just their actions throughout the game is that they don't want to be in this world because Sam wants that little toy. He just wants to play with a toy, and Ellie just wants to live a normal life.
Right. It goes back to that forced maturity where they're forced to have these conversations. Conversations that maybe, you have when you're 25 or 30. But for Sam, it's very real because he has this bite on his leg and he's holding out. It's like a terminal illness. And he's saying, well, am I going to be stuck in there for forever until somebody kills me? Is there an afterlife that possibly I can go to? It's sad for a kid to have to contemplate these things.
What if the people are still inside? What if they're trapped in there without any control of their body? Scared of that happening to me.
It goes back to the notion of the needs of the many outweighing the needs of the few. The famous line from Star Trek 2.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Henry and Joel are kind of like, I don't know about the needs of the many anymore because Henry leaves behind Joel.
Yeah.
When he thought he can escape with Sam.
I don't blame him. I don't
Right,
blame him.
yeah.
Because Henry doesn't know him. He helped him get to where he had to go, and then he was ready to dip.
Yeah, the world has just become so brutal that that's all these people can focus on, surviving.
Yeah. This game forces you to make choices on what you think is a necessity in this game. That's a nod to like the realistic aspect of this game because you're getting put in spots where you need to make a shiv or should I make a Molotov cocktail? Should I make a med kit? It puts you in that world and it makes you think, wait, I need this. No, I'm going to go with this. All right, let's go with that. And then if you go with the wrong thing, you're fucked. It really hammers home the point of survival in this game. Not one point in the game do you have a full ammunition.
And they do a great job with kind of combining gameplay and also narrative to hone in on these points of desperation because Ellie and Dave teaming up, when zombies are coming, zombies are impartial. They don't take sides. They don't care if you're hunter, firefly, military. They're going to kill you. So in this moment, Ellie has to team up with this despicable person. And he also does a good job of kind of manipulating her. He's a very devious character.
Yeah.
But
In that scene, when I first saw that scene, I kind of thought that Dave was setting everything up to gain Ellie's trust to get to Joel.
Right.
But,
No, he's just way worse.
It was just him wanting to kill them both.
Yeah, just eat them.
Yeah. Horrible. You know what's crazy is that how similar Joel and Ellie are, but how different they are at the same time because Joel was a product of this environment and Ellie was born into this environment. So, like, their survival skills are the same, but mentally, they're completely different.
When she has that scene with Sam where Sam goes, what are you afraid of?
Well, have a good night.
How is it that you're never scared?
Who says that I'm not?
What are you scared of?
Ellie's not afraid of dying anymore. Ellie's not this desperate to survive. She's afraid of failing, She's
Right.
afraid of not being the one.
Because she has this burden to save humanity.
Right.
That was just put on her.
Being by myself. I'm scared of ending up alone.
And to me, the idea of suffering through survivor's guilt is so refreshing, for lack of a better term, but it's just so different because usually stories like this, it's just, it's focused on surviving. This threat is coming and it seems like it's insurmountable that the only thing you can do is run away to protect your own life. But what if you keep surviving and keep surviving at the expense of those around you, that other people are sacrificing for you? And that can weigh on you, and especially when you're a 14-year-old girl. We praise Ellie because of how funny she is and how cool she is, but at the end of the game, she's completely different, man.
Yeah, because you see it with her growing up. She has this innocence to her, and she wants to be a kid so bad, but she's being forced to grow up at such a rapid pace. It's like a forced maturity on her, and I feel horrible for her. It's like that scene when they went in the music shop, and she's like, look at all this music. It's so sad that nobody can hear it now.
Or reading the kid's diary.
Right. When
she ran away and saying, this is what they worried about, matching shirts and skirts? She can't even imagine worrying about something like that. And it's just 20 years.
I wish I could worry about that right now.
Right. Well, I also wanted to point out, just kind of 6 years later what we're going through in the real world.
Eerily the same.
Yeah. You kind of see some of the similarities. So we definitely have to talk about two of the most iconic voiceover performances probably of all time in video games. Ashley Johnson as Ellie and Troy Baker as Joel. I mean, without these performances, the writing is great, but they really had to bring these characters to life.
It's not unheard of, but it's so uncommon that a voiceover actor can make you feel what they're going through. You don't have that element of using your face to describe how you're feeling or your body. That we're just going based off sound.
Exactly, and you hear that in their performances. You can hear their voice tremble when they're scared. You can hear elation in their voice. It is truly a talent. It's different, like you said, between live action and voiceover. It's a different type of performing. It's a different skill. Although, there is the motion capture aspect of making this game, which is also great. It's great to watch those kind of back-to-back, the game and then the actual motion capture, and it allows you to bring that physicality to your voiceover performance.
Hey, what are you... Joel?
Bill!
What are you doing?
Bill! Turn around and get on your knees.
Just calm down a second.
Turn around
All right.
and get on your knees. Don't test me. Just
Take it easy.
any bites. Oh.
I don't want to take anything away from them, but do you think the story helped out a lot more with them? Because the story is fantastic, and you need a great story to portray how you're feeling, too. The writing is fantastic.
Right, well, I think it is a combination of both, because in so many video games, sometimes the voiceover performances and the cutscenes are a bit distracting. They're kind of goofy. They don't kind of feel seamless. But
they seem like they're set up.
Right, exactly. For this, it felt like the cutscenes were just as important as the gameplay.
It's for emergencies only.
Okay.
A lot of times in games, I want to skip a cutscene. For this, I couldn't wait to see how the story.
That's a great point.
It was just a great combination. And all across the board, I mean, the voiceover performances with Henry and Sam and Tess, she doesn't have a lot of screen time, but what you get with all these characters is that they feel like they're actually living in this world.
Look, I managed.
Give me that. Are these assholes still with us?
Well, that's funny.
One of the more seamless aspects of this game is actually the character of Tess, because in hindsight, she's just there to be a walking, talking tutorial. She's kind of showing you the ropes, but they do such a good job in that short period of time of developing that character. She's got some grit to her. She's obviously important to the main character, so when her death happens, it is very sad. And she begins to, she was living as a survivor, but now she's kind of an idealist. She thinks that they have a chance here to save the world. So that's definitely one of the pushes Joel needed to finish this mission.
Oh, Christ.
Oops, right? Give me your arm. This was 3 weeks. I was bitten an hour ago, and it's already worse. This is fucking real, Joel.
Talking about the voiceover performances with the supporting characters, Bill was one of my favorites, and this whole chapter was one of my favorite chapters in the game.
Well, Bill's another cliche. He's the guy who's been preparing for the apocalypse his entire life, or he just knows how to survive something like this. So he's got all the traps, he's very secluded, and Ellie and Joel just come and blow everything up.
Yeah, then you got the two friends, just come out of nowhere and flame up your spot.
Banging on his door, blowing up his tripwires. Like, hey, Bill, you got any booze? You got a Tesla? Trying to bounce.
You hear that?
Yeah. Shit, look at that.
It's so funny, like Joel's walking through, it's like, yeah, Bill set all these up.
Yeah. Yeah, Bill took years for him to set up all these booby traps.
Jesus.
Whoa, Nelly. What the hell was that?
That would be one of Bill's traps.
Bang.
Then you risk his life.
It's great to have a companion in this game, too, that can fight, because Bill with the machete was ruthless.
There was a point in the game where I went through a part and I snuck up on a character, and there was a guy next to me, and I was getting ready to go into a little fight. And I went and shivved him, and Bill, or Henry, came up and shivved him next to me. I was like, oh, bet.
It makes you feel less lonely in a world like this, which
scared.
I appreciate. Yeah, in any game, really.
Yeah, you felt for Bill when you saw his friend hung, because that was the first time you saw him, and he hasn't heard from him in a while, he says.
Yeah.
And he's hanging in his room. And that's just a nod to the performance there, man.
Frank.
Who the hell's Frank?
He was my partner. He's the only idiot that would wear a shirt like that.
Yeah, and there was a split between Bill and his partner, and then there was also a split with Joel and Tommy, which was also interesting, you know, from a story perspective, that Joel was kind of stuck in one place his entire life, and Tommy did believe in the Fireflies, and then he separated from the Fireflies, but then he managed to build a new town that has electricity. So maybe that proves that it's worth it to hold on to hope.
There she is. Kids will be watching movies tonight.
Where is this lab of theirs?
It's all the way out, University of Eastern Colorado.
Go Bighorns.
I wonder in the second one if they'll get more in depth on how Joel and Tommy split up, because Tommy went and did his own thing, man. Like you just said, he built an entire town, and Joel stayed home and didn't do anything. But where was that disconnect? Because it was a long time in between.
I always like that in the story. You know, there's something happens, and there's probably two sides to it. And if we were to hear, we would just say, "Oh, there's two bickering brothers." You know,
is that too much though? That's a lot of time. And
No,
and a lot going on in such a different world.
Well, it looks like Tommy's going to have more of a role in the second game because Ellie does stay at the dam, and I guess that's where she does grow up. So I guess we'll see. We'll see in part 2. And just leading up to part 2, we're going to see Ellie again. And at the end of the game, the way that the characters kind of flipped, because you talked about that, how Joel and Ellie were so different but similar, but their moods have kind of changed, where Joel is a bit more optimistic, looking forward to returning to Tommy's, and Ellie is still thinking about all the people that she's lost.
I don't think I ever told you, but Sarah and I used to take hikes like this. I think the two of you would have been good friends. I think you really would have liked her. I know she'd have liked you.
I bet I would have.
Did you like that ending for that character? Because she seems to have she has the harshest ending.
I liked it, but now that I know there's going to be a second one, it's going to be flip-flop now because, like you just said, Joel's going to have all his optimism. Ellie is going to find out the secret sooner or later. I'm afraid that their relationship is going to just like tear apart because obviously Ellie's going to want to do the right thing. I'm ready for Ellie to have her own story, but I just don't want to see that relationship break between Ellie and Joel.
Yeah, and we definitely might. And you wonder what is her main motivation going to be? Is there any chance that she could be a cure for humanity? Is that something that she even wants anymore?
I was a big fan of music, like in that home screen. They set the mood perfect in that.
Yeah, no, the score by Gustavo Santaolalla, actually an Academy Award-winning composer. Yeah, it was great. It really captured kind of the loneliness of this world.
Wow, it did.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about it.
When that theme would come in at certain times, it comes in right on the title screen. I think that really adds to it, yeah.
For the long loading screen, I actually enjoyed it. I don't know, weird to say that you enjoy a loading screen, but I love that the game never paused when you were trying to do a med kit or just anything when you were toggling through the menus, trying to make stuff. You better go find cover, or you better make sure there's no one around, because more times than not, there's always an enemy, and you need to find cover and get those things made. I love that.
Were you frustrated by stupid enemies? I mean, there were times when Ellie would be completely in the sight of an enemy, and they would ignore her.
Yeah.
A lot of people were frustrated about that.
Frustrated, yes, but not because it didn't fuck up my game. So
yeah, that's the thing.
I wasn't.
I think it's a little overblown. Some people are like, oh, it completely zaps the atmosphere out of the game. I'm like,
the one enemy or one or two enemies out of the whole loot.
I know.
Really?
And we've seen stupid AI before. And I guess maybe that comes with the territory of being praised as a masterpiece. People are going to say, well, to me, it's a nitpick.
No, yeah.
And I hear that enemies are way smarter in the second one, which I don't know if that's good.
There was a time in the game, there was a point in the game where I forgot about an enemy and I thought I was clear. And then I just turned around and he's right there. I was like, oh, thank God he didn't see me. Because I just took like half hour clearing the whole building. And I don't know. I didn't find anything wrong with it. He didn't see me.
And kind of the outside forces in this game, it really brings it to life as well when you have the Fireflies, where you don't see them much, but you see these little skirmishes in the beginning, and at certain points of the game, you meet one of their leaders, Marlene, who has this relationship with Ellie. It was cool to see that kind of political strife and political tension in the background. It wasn't the focus.
I like that there was no government, but there was, if you follow what I'm saying. It's
yeah.
Like, from all accounts, the government was taken down, but you still saw a glimpse of structure in the government.
Yeah, highly militarized, martial law. And at times, the soldiers, like I said, with the soldiers, the hunters, the Fireflies, they were more scary than the zombies.
This game was just as much as fighting them than the zombie apocalypse happening.
Right, yeah. It's almost like the zombie apocalypse was secondary.
Right.
And it's more about how humanity is going to kind of overcome this.
You know, we were talking about Joel, if he made the right decision or not taking Ellie. And we see that Marlene also struggled with that, and she ultimately chose to kill her.
Right.
We kind of did get both then. We want the happy ending, and we were about to not get it because Marlene chose to kill her, and Joel went back to save her. Who would you agree with?
Well, it's tough because there are also recordings of Marlene kind of having this internal struggle of whether she should kill Ellie to try and get a cure or keep her alive. So she did grapple with that herself before she has that confrontation with Joel, and then Joel makes the decision to kill her. So there's so many disturbing endings. In another story, in another version of the story, the tragic ending is that, yes, Joel bonds with Ellie, and then Ellie has to die because she's the cure.
And then Joel dies trying to save her or something.
Right, or something. Or Joel says, okay, you know what? I have to lose a daughter again. It just sucks, but it's the right thing to do.
Just think about how selfish it is, though. If you really think about it, how selfish that decision is. He chose to not be lonely anymore over mankind getting a cure.
We're about to hit a milestone in human history equal to the discovery of penicillin. After years of wandering in circles, we're about to come home. Make a difference.
They've stopped looking for a cure. I'm taking us home. I'm sorry.
So that right there kind of proves that the Fireflies were looking for a cure, and Ellie, it seemed like this surgeon believed that Ellie was going to be that cure. And Joel lied. So I think that's pretty much confirmed that Joel does lie. It's not even a stretch of the truth at this point. So what we've seen with the game, the way that humanity is kind of broken down, why save humanity? Does humanity deserve this if you're Joel?
I bet
Why
Joel's,
should everybody else be happy? I've never been happy.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. I feel like Joel's probably thinking, there's X amount of people in the world, and what are the odds that she's the only one that's not? Why do I need to save humanity? Why can't I relax for a second, after everything I've been through? No, I did it. That's fine. I would have thought that. I brought her there. I got the job done.
I got here, right?
Yeah.
You guys are the ones who made it all icky, saying that, she's got to die in brain surgery.
You guys really can't just take the blood sample over and call it a day?
They got some dumb fucking doctors in the Fireflies. But the other argument is that Joel should have done the right thing, and he was very selfish. And you have to take the chance. You have to, right? Humanity is broken down this far. If there's a slither of hope.
And maybe Joel doesn't want to be the hero. Maybe he just wants to live a happy life, and by any means necessary. Because if you go back to that interrogation scene, there was no merciful bone in his body.
Yeah, that is actually a dark scene.
He was ready. He was ready and willing to kill them, regardless. Actually, no. He was ready to kill them.
No, he did. He did fucking kill them. I mean, he made it seem like if you give me the information,
Right.
I'll spare your life, and he just gutted that guy.
Because he's done some horrible shit, man.
And even the hostage is like, you said you promised to.
Fuck you, man. He told you what you wanted.
He's like, well,
Yeah,
I believed him. He says.
That's all right. I believe in him.
No, wait.
He becomes Denzel in Man on Fire. So yeah, that's a good point. He's just a very, very complex character.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
A character like Tess, who I also thought was a great character.
Oh man, she died for no reason now.
Yep.
Oh,
and that's
no.
why it's weighing on Ellie, man. That's the Survivor's Guild. That's why the ending is. It's just.
What an enigma of an ending, huh?
Yeah, definitely. What would you give this game out of 10?
Oh, 10, obviously.
Yeah,
if I can go
10 out of
11, I
10.
would.
You could.
All right, 11 out of 10.
I think it's unprecedented. Wow, an 11 out of 10. You have to put that on the Wikipedia.
You know what the funny part was when they're driving and she finds that dirty mag.
It's like, why is it stuck together? I'm kidding.
Why are these all stuck together? I'm just fucking with you.
Oh, guess the video's over. Ended pretty abruptly. Hey guys, Beau over here for one final send-off. And before we go, we would like to thank our very special Patreon members, pledgers, whatever you guys want to call yourselves. You keep the lights on here at the studio. So it's really our pleasure to review all these movies, TV shows, video games that we all know and love. And we actually have a couple of shows that have been suggested by Patreon members that we will be reviewing in the next couple of weeks. And if you're a fan of anime, get excited because we have Neon Genesis, My Hero Academia, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, not technically an anime, but also Castlevania. And of course, if you want to visit our Patreon page and pledge, see the different rewards that we have, maybe you can suggest a show, a movie, a video game. Or maybe you don't want to do any of that. Honestly, watching up until this point of the video is good enough for me. So, thank you out there, and stay safe.